Here's the next speaker, excuse me. Mr. Doug Land, Realtor from Capital City Sotheby's Realty, who will be speaking next.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here with y'all today. It's rather auspicious to be with a group like this because there's probably 50 to 100 realtors in the room, since everybody knows there's thousands of us here in the area. So if I make a misstep, I'm really in trouble because they all have the same numbers I do. Again, realtors oftentimes are described very much like stockbrokers. We always believe tomorrow's going to be better than today. Most of us are going to tell you prices are going to be better tomorrow than they are today. Well, I'm a little more of a realist. I have been here in the community a little over 18 years, so I've seen quite a bit of change. Some of the others that have been here have described some of the different things they've encountered in the times they've been here. When my wife grew up here, went to high school and college, and she brought me down here when we were dating, saying, someday I'm coming back to Austin. So I thought I better check it out and see if I liked it here. Well, obviously I did. Like many of y'all in the room, I saw things when I first came here that said, keep Austin weird. And I asked my wife, what's that all about? And she took me down to Auditorium Shores, and we spent a Sunday afternoon there, and I saw what weird meant. But the reality of it, weird for us is a little different. Weird is we're unique. Obviously, we're thrilled that we're all in the state of Texas, and more appropriately, we're thrilled we're in Austin, and more appropriately here in the Lake Travis area. We weathered the storm better than most everyone else in the country. And why is that? Well, some would say it's an attitude. We live here, most of us, by choice. Many of the people in this room could have lived anywhere in the country they wished to. I've helped people for all these years move here, and 3/4 of the people I've helped move here over the years came here because they heard it was a great place to be, and they wanted to be somewhere that was special. We continue to see that. Obviously, the national media has discovered that, and they've been touting Austin as the place to be over the last year or more, and so we're on everybody's radar screen. Everything is coming our way, so yes, Dr. Kirk was right. We continue to grow at a time when other places do not, because it's special, and a big part of that is the people here in this room. It was interesting. I was thumbing through a book that some of y'all have probably seen. It's The First 25 Years of Lakeway. It was written by Byron Varner. Well, it really is a neat chronicle. If you've not ever gotten a hold of it, you may be able to get copies still from the Historical Society here in Lakeway. But the book talks a little bit about how this area came to be. And again, back in the 30s and 40s, some intelligent people decided they needed to build a dam to keep Austin from flooding. And lo and behold, we have a lake behind us. Had they never built that dam, none of us would be sitting in this room today. There'd been no reason to be here. But because of that, we have an incredible place to be. Why else is this the place that everybody's coming to? Well, not only the people, but we're happy to be where we are. We've got clean air, we've got clean water, we've got great schools, we've got relatively affordable property. Some would argue that, but I got a kick out of a client I just talked to this week. She lives in Manhattan right now. She's renting a 1,000 square foot apartment and paying $7,500 a month. I sent her a list of 50 properties, and her jaw dropped. The email I got back, she would buy any one of these properties in a heartbeat because what she's coming out of is just a different world. Compared to most of the country, we are still relatively affordable. And yes, we're afraid of the taxes and where some of that may go, but the schools and everything we have to offer here is why people continue to come here. It's why most of us are here in this room today. So what is the real forecast? You know, Steve put me on the spot saying I'm the one that's got to tell you what's going to happen in real estate in the year to come. Well, I've got a little handout that y'all can pick up on the way out. It's on some of the tables in the lobby. From 2009 to 2010, sales in the geographic area, roughly the Lake Travis Independent School District geographic area, we were up 10% in number of sales. All of Austin was down about 6%, and their volume down about 4% in total sales. Here in Lake Travis, up 10% in number of properties sold and up 10% in volume. We sold about $330 million in residential real estate. Well, that has an incredible impact on all of us in this room, because whenever a property sells, lots and lots of people go to work. Not only is it realtors, it's lenders, it's inspectors, it's appraisers, it's title company people, it's insurance guys. And then they go buy paint and this, that, and the other to fix up their house. So the trickle-down effect from the real estate world is huge. So what am I saying is going to happen coming into this 2011? There's no reason in the world for us not to expect that our sales will continue to increase. Will they be double-digit again? Well, it's hard to forecast that they'll be quite that large. My hope is that it will. But there's no reason to think that it won't be at least 5 to 8% increase in sales, as some of the previous speakers have talked about the new construction. It's not quite at the pace that it was 3 and 4 years ago, but we continue to see building going on. New building now in Rocky Creek, Falcon Head West, the front part of Falcon Head. There'll be some things that you'll see announced probably in the papers over the next 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, so stay tuned. There are some new things coming that haven't hit the papers yet. Rough Hollow continues to build. Things are working here because this is the place to be. And it truly is an attitude of each and every one of us. We love where we live because of the people we live with. When you live here by choice, you're a whole lot happier, and you tell people about it. So we continue to attract more like-kind folks who want to be somewhere that's special. Had you told me 20 years ago I would live here in Austin today and that I'd be a real estate professional and be doing what I'm doing, I would have told you you'd lost your ever-loving mind. I was like many who went to the big city, was in Dallas, and found a job in my, quote, field, and did the corporate America thing for a few years and hated it. So people here live here and enjoy what they do because they've done it by choice. So again, our forecast is bright. There's lots of wonderful things on the horizon as we continue to build out. Yes, at some point we're going to cap the number of people that can be in the Lake Travis ISD, so someday Rocky's problem slows down because, growth has to slow once we've built out everything. But again, it's a wonderful place to be, and a big part of it, again, goes to each and every one of y'all. Y'all have had an impact in this community. Now, I would tell you, look back to those. I'm going to ask a small favor. Anybody that's in the room that has been here in the Lake Travis area for 20 years or more, please stand up. Before y'all leave today, say thank you to each of these people. They have plowed the course for us. Now, I'm 18 years in the area, so I'm almost part of that group. But probably if I asked the number of people in the room that had been here 5 years or less to stand up, you'd have 2 or 3 times the number that just stood up. So these folks have gone before us and made this the fabulous place it is today. So thank them for what they've done. 10 or 20 years from now, there'll be another group behind us thanking us for what we've done and continuing to make it a fabulous place for us to live. On the horizon, again, just a couple of things. Trends. People always want to know what's going on. I'm going to forewarn you that you're going to hear in the news some negative things, but I think it's important for you to understand what they're actually saying. If you were paying attention to what they were reporting in real estate over the last 4 to 6 months, most months Austin was down in number of sales from the previous year, but understand what they're really talking about. If you remember, the fall of 2009 was the first go-around of the home buyer credits that were made available to first-time home buyers and even to resale buyers. That really drove sales up fairly dramatically in the latter part of 2009. Then they extended that, so it ran through the first 4 months of 2010. So consequently, for a few more months, we're going to be comparing sales data to data that was in an overly active segment of the market because of what the government had done to try and help stimulate sales. I hope and pray they find some other thing to help drive things, but again, overall, we're a little bit insulated from that in the Lake Travis area because many more people were affected in a lesser price point than what we experienced for the most part here. Yes, we have property available in the $100,000 to $200,000 price point, but a lot of that's condos and some of that's down 620 a little ways. Most of our area certainly is from the $200,000 to $500,000 price point, and some new construction obviously has to be higher because of land development costs now. But you will hear data that makes it sound like things are negative, that sales are down. Take it with a grain of salt. We're comparing against a time that was, again, artificially inflated numbers. Many sales last year that would have happened throughout the course of the year were compressed into the first 4 to 6 months of the year because of the homebuyer credits that were made available. You've heard a lot about lending, that lending has really tightened, and in ways it has, but to some extent, lending took a correction it needed. We all know that back in 2005, 6, and 7, if you could fog a mirror, you could get a real estate loan. Well, a lot of people got in houses they should have never got in. There's still a little bit of fallout from that. So the foreclosure market is not dead. You're going to continue to hear about foreclosures taking place. Take that with a little grain of salt, because what you hear in the media is reporting the number of properties posted for foreclosure. not all of those posted are foreclosed on. Some properties get posted 2, 3, 4 times before they actually get foreclosed on. So those numbers are, again, somewhat inflated, and personally, I think they really ought to change report actual foreclosures. It'd be a much different number. One of the other challenges that we may be facing over the next few years, and some of the economic forecasters have talked about this more in Austin, affordable lots are going to be more and more of a challenge over the next year or two as more of those get gobbled up. Right now, there's very little in development. We have a little bit out here in the Lake Travis area, and again, I think we're in better shape than most. If you're dealing with City of Austin regulations, it takes about 2 years or more to take raw dirt to develop lots. With very little financing available for people to develop like that, there's not much in the works. So there may be a tightening of availability of lots about 12 months from now. So some of the production builders may have some challenges finding property. Some of them have been very active the last 6 months acquiring lot positions. But that may be a challenge that starts to affect new construction, especially on the affordable end of things. So their prices likely will start moving up a little bit simply because of supply and demand. I do personally believe we'll see prices stay relatively stable throughout 2011. I'd love to be able to tell you prices are going to go up and that would help the district, raise some revenue and taxes. The reality of it, we're still going to do some building, we're going to do some things to create more value in our area, but I doubt prices will really significantly change throughout this year. I do believe prices in 2012 will start heading up. Obviously, there's a lot of things that happen that will cause that. You've heard about the hospital and all the related medical office building and everything there. That will cause an influx of people coming in here, so we're going to occupy some more properties. Also, the Whole Foods, again, I visited with Adrian over at the Galleria recently, and he's told me about what's going on. Over the last 10 months, he has leased out over 125,000 square feet of office space. That was the big bane of things there for the first few years. There was no office space leased. Well, when you lease office space, you put a lot more people on site on a regular basis. The restaurants and all the retail does better because there's that many more people on site. Also, he's beginning to lease up his retail as well. He's got, I believe it's about 80,000 square feet of retail space left out of about 750,000 square feet. So he's pretty happy with what's gone on over the last year, and as am I since we office there. So it's good to see a few more people in there. Again, one other challenge I think we'll see is leasing market has tightened up. Apartments throughout Austin are about 90% leased now. In our area, it's actually a fraction higher. We've got limited availability of apartments out here. So leasing has tightened up. It's now a good time, in my opinion, for investors to look at lease properties to purchase. There's still some out there to be had at a reasonable price point. And again, as has been chronicled, we've got people coming in here. So that will start to tighten as well, and when leasing tightens up, prices start going up there, and ultimately it starts pushing people into the buying market as well, because leasing, once it becomes more expensive than buying, again, it'll push people that direction. So overall, I think we've got just a fantastic place to be and a bright outlook. Again, I wish I could tell you we're going to start experiencing 10 and 15% appreciation. That's down the road quite a ways. Whether we see that again at that rate, I don't know. But again, I'm thrilled to be here amongst y'all, and I know y'all are thrilled to be here in this area. And with that in mind, our outlook for next year, I think, is as bright as it can be. So thank you very much.